answer your hand. You're some weeks into spring now. Just how do you feel about the progress you all have made to this point?
I'm real pleased with our progress and the points of emphasis. Seeing guys getting better. Again, emphasizing the point of you've been able to, stack things on top of each other as far as learning, installment, retention, things that the benefits of last December and then starting up in February to carry that over. All those things. I really like our attitude and how we're doing it. And that said, though, we got a lot of work to do yet. But I'm happy where it's trending, and we've stayed fairly healthy. And so today's number 7, so we're almost at the essentially halfway through it.
You mentioned health. Has anyone come back that was limited? Is anyone more limited now than they were in the past?
Oh yeah, we got some that are probably a little more. Logan Brown missed a little time. He's back. Savion Morrison is back doing a little bit as well as Devin Neal. So we got them back. Doug was pretty much full today. I mean, he has been a little bit. We're getting him and Tanaka. We're back towards the end there before spring break. So we're picking up there. Patrick Joyner probably did the most he's done in this program today, but that'll still be a progression. Davion Westmoreland, was out, so again we're kind of short in some spots there, but that's a good thing about our numbers, because you start hearing that a lot across the country sometimes about what you're limited, and we're doing all 2 huddle stuff and 11 on 11, some 3 huddle stuff. So we got, there's, good portion of practice there at the end. We have 60-some guys all getting reps down here at the same time, and that's exciting for our younger players. Jaden Ham's a guy today that kind of made a few plays that stuck out, especially these guys that have come in early. Tony Terry made some plays today. It was nice to see him do some things, and really been pleased with Kelvin Clements and what he's been able to pick up and do, and the progression he's made in a short time. So those are some young guys that really kind of caught my eye here of late.
How have you seen Dylan McDuffie acclimate to this?
He's excellent, and weight room guys pick their guy of the week all the time, and his workout. We had a pretty good idea what Dylan was going to bring to us and what he understands. I think I said it here the one time about sending special teams clips to me, not carries and that, but his work ethic, his understanding, he understands what we expect in practice as far as our pace, our tempos, our finishes, and he's been outstanding. And for all of the week before spring ball, he was the only scholarship running back available, and he took a boatload of reps and really it kind of helped him acclimate himself to this offense again and do it. So that's been a real pleasant surprise. Pleasant to see, because I think at the same time, any of our newcomers, they have to go about it and earn it through the coaching staff, but they also have to earn it within the locker room. And I think Dylan's been able to do that here in his short time in the program.
I think it was Kolonicki who said fairly early on this spring that complacency, right, is the culture killer. And he basically said, hey, if the starters think they have a job, they got to think again, because this is all new and it's all starting over. How have you seen guys respond to that mantra and the complacency idea?
Well, I think they've embraced it. I think they understand. Now, again, some spots, when you're limited based on some, like the safety positions, not where we want it to be health-wise, but I think it's going to be a benefit by the time we hit August with the reps that we're going to get there. But if you're talking Andy and the offense, and as we want to be a more physical offense, we want to continue to be as multiple and diverse in what we're doing in personnel groupings, formations, motion shifts, and all those. And the guys who can retain it and execute it are going to be the ones out there. And again, I like where we're progressing in the offensive line as far as depth and competition goes. And in fact, in between practice now, Scott Fuchs and I were talking about ways to continue to generate competition, and then sometimes mixing and matching and moving guys, from guard to tackle or tackle to guard, or right side to left side, and we're going to continue to do that because that does it does force you to stay locked in, work hard, and do those things, and you know, we don't want to just be okay in areas just because we play a lot of guys or something like that. It's still going to be the guys who are going to play at the highest level are going to play the most football here, and I think they're embracing that.
Yeah, and how does that idea filter down to the young guys or the guys that are really just here for the first time? I mean, they can't really be complacent because they weren't here, but how does that factor in?
You know, I was talking to some visiting coaches here today. You talk about a lot of different things, and that sometimes can be the difference in today's world of, you know, sometimes you worry about, instilling your expectations, your standards, your culture, all those words that we use today. But when you bring guys that have been in other programs, sometimes they have a tendency to want to pick and choose which parts they like of each program. And the thing that we have to make sure is, you know, it used to be, I would say that, you know, when transferring wasn't as big as it was or things like that, is when you went to college, well, I guess this is what college football is, and guys could just, you know, work. Now we know we explain a lot more what we do and why we do it, and that's fine, that's good. But at the same time, we still have to instill about how we do it, whether it be transitioning from drill to drill, how we finish a drill, how we secure the ball, how we're going to tag off or thud up, and all the little things. And I think that's where you go to your player-led program and expectations. I think, you know, you go back to Matt Gildersleeve and what we instill in the off-season, as well as the position coaches. I think the players hold each other to it, and also we ask them and say, we need your help for them to understand quickly how we do this. And the sooner they do that, the better off everybody's going to be.
I'm curious, since we talked to you last, we talked to Bryce Cable. What have you made of just kind of his development this off season and just since last year?
Yeah, you know, Bryce has really come a long way on and off the field, I think, and I think and that's the part, I think we're so busy with so many other things that you really don't get a chance to fully embrace the maturation and growth of guys and really have a chance. And I appreciate you asking, because when you see a person become more confident, not just in their play, but who they are as a person, and you know, listening to people talk about how he even came across in his opportunity to speak to all of you is great, because sometimes public speaking and other things and sitting around having questions asked aren't always the easiest, and to see them handle it, and it's a credit to our communications people and working with guys. But all of that, it might be academic confidence, it could be weight room confidence, it could be something else personally in their life as they go. But when they all come together and people grow, that's part of what this has always been about and should be about, is that when parents drop their son off, that they leave here in time with a degree and being in a lot better position for the next phase of life, with or without football. And I think Bryce has done a good job with that. He's trying to be more of a vocal leader, and he's playing right side and left side. You know, he started the last 2 years at right. He's embracing the move over. So all those things are really neat to see.
And then today we'll talk to Logan. You mentioned he's doing more practice now,
Yeah.
but what have you just thought of his adaptation process? What have you seen from him?
And he's
so far?
such a easygoing guy for a man that size, and he's so light on his feet and athletic. And he's been through it, and, you know, he's played at a high level and understands the process of learning. But he doesn't flinch. He doesn't get rattled in learning. He takes coaching, and he continues to get better as well. You know, it was Taiwan Berryhill was doing a few things against him, and he just talked about, man, once he got his hands on him, you know, the strength that he does possess. And I really enjoy Logan being in this program for a lot of different reasons: his maturity, and sometimes the experiences of, you know, things that he went through, and good and maybe not so good, but also some things that we might do here or provide for our players that might be a little different or slightly better than where he was before. And sometimes we always, you know, and he can shed light. And I think just like Kalen Gervin did last year and things like that. And all those things kind of help the locker room in different ways.
And you guys will go 3 days a week until the spring showcase. Just what do you want to see from the team between now and the end?
Yeah, you know, continued development, I guess. You know, I think the thing we're trying to emphasize, I think this spring, when we're all said and done, will be maybe one of the more physical springs that we've gone through as a staff. And I know it'll be more physical than it was last spring, and just some of the tempos of how we practice it and what we're doing, so we can be to work on things that we need to work on, and embracing that. And it's probably easier the second time around, and where our numbers are at and things. So I want to continue to see us embrace that. So we're a more physical football team in the fall. Again, we want to put them in stressful situations to cause them to think and react. I think, again, I don't know if there's many people that shift in motion more than we do, maybe as much, but I don't know if you can really do much more than sometimes we do within 25 and 40 seconds. So whatever our staff or our defensive staff is seeing and doing, it should really help them. You know, so those are things. And of course, probably most importantly, you know, you kind of get to a certain point of spring, you want to make sure you're healthy coming out of it as well. So not just healthy enough to get through, but you're healthy enough to embrace the next phase of the weight room, because that's why we go early, so we can get a head start on that heading into the summer.
What have you seen from your wide receiver group, and has there been anybody that's particularly stood out?
You know, I don't know about particularly standing out. I had that conversation with him before. I like the balance and the steadiness of it. Again, had some visiting coaches here and things, and one of the things they talked about that they were impressed with on just first glance was, you know, some of our length and things that, you know, we've always wanted to make sure we're addressing. So you go, you know, LJ and Quentin and, you know, Tanaka and who else I'll be forgetting out there. But again, the consistency there. You know, Torrey Loughlin didn't practice today, but his work in different spots, and again, his versatility is something that's going to be valuable for us. Luke Grimm continues to get better. I think Luke has become a leader in this program in different ways, so that's great to see. Because of Kevin Terry's had and continues to make plays as well. Trying to get Trevor Wilson healthy, and you know, he's doing a little bit more, but not quite everything that we'd want yet. But as that group, and Doug made a few plays today, the depth and the ability there to make plays, but also really embracing everything we ask them to do, all the spots they have to get lined up, where they have to go, the shifts, the motions, the splits in general, and then what we have to do, and then really embracing the other part of the job, and that's being able to block and make sure everything goes and so on. Because with that, what we do offensively and in the run game opens up that pass game, and they really have to feed well off each other. That's going to cause them to be open. And I really like to see, you know, I think Terry's done a great job, and I mentioned how we practice. They're all getting a lot of work, and that's great to see.
And you talked about getting to see Patrick Joyner. What's your thoughts so far on that rush in where you're trying to replace Lonnie's production?
Mm-hmm. You know, it's a work in progress based on availability of bodies. You know, I mean, I still look at our defensive ends holistically and who they are. You know, Jeremy continues to do well, and Hayden Hatcher, we know what he gives us and his tenacity. You know, Patrick's kind of there. Davion was doing well and has ability to help us. He's got pretty heavy hands, and he's strong, and he works extremely hard. Demarion has been down a lot, and so he's missed time. He was doing a little bit. I'm trying to think who else I'm in, but the one that I kind of catches me is being somebody that's going to help us is Austin Booker. You really look at his frame when he's out there. He's a lot of length, long arms. And the more he gets comfortable in what we're doing, I like where that's trending. So again, that's. And you make a good point, because you look at the last 2 years between Kyron Johnson and what Lonnie gave us. You know, that's I don't know if it's going to be strictly at that spot or how that's going to be picked up within this defense, but those are conversations that Brian Borland and I have had to make sure that we keep looking and evaluating to try to find a way that we continue to get that type of production that we're getting out there.
Hey, Coach.
Yep.
With high expectations coming into the season, what can you say about your team's kind of approach and ability to embrace those challenges to potentially compete for a Big 12 title?
Well, thanks. I appreciate you being here today too. And, you know, I think the best way to answer that is that what's important for this program is to focus on what we can do in the moment and today to be better than we were yesterday. And I know that's probably not the best sound clip you want to use, but what it has to be, because it was that way 2 years ago, and it has to be that way, that the expectations is to keep working to get better and not worry about games that haven't been played yet or games that are on the schedule. Because, you know, when we get to that point, and right now we're working on getting better, is that we're going to need to focus on Missouri State, and that needs to be the main focus when that comes. And you do that, then you have a chance as you continue to work and get better. The next thing you know, you have opportunities to be in the mix and things and play in the postseason and do things like that. And if we stray from that, then I really think we'll never reach our fullest potential to be where we want to be.
Anything else, Coach?
Anything else? All right.